What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt and welcome to Downshift. Today I have the pleasure of being in the brand new 2018 Mazda 6 as courtesy of my friends over at Hall Imports in Brookfield, Wisconsin. So the biggest news for the 2018 Mazda 6 is that it now comes with a turbocharged engine. Yes, you can get a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder in this. This is going to give you about 250 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. If you use premium gasoline, if you use regular unleaded, your horsepower is going to drop to about 227 horsepower. This power is going to get you 0 to 60 in about 6.7 seconds, which sounds okay, but it's still lagging a little bit behind the competition. Accord and Camry offer a V6 option, and those are a little bit quicker to 60. I will say, however, this Mazda 6 comes with class-leading torque at 310 pound-feet. I believe the reason that it gets to 60 a little bit slower than competition is because it still uses a 6-speed automatic. A lot of competitors are using a little bit quicker, 10 speeds, 8 speeds, whatever it may be. However, Mazda does a really good job of gearing their cars, so especially when you go up into sport mode, it does a really good job of hanging the revs up high and prolonging or quickening up your shifts, I should say. So it really gives you a more sporty and dynamic feel. It's not necessarily the most powerful, but once you toss it into a corner, you really understand why the Mazda 6 is the sportiest option in the segment. So with this new turbocharged power plant, are you expecting to get any better fuel economy? You're still going to get 23 mpg city and 31 mpg highway. This car is about 3,500 pounds, so it is right around in the middle of the pack. Fuel economy numbers aren't stellar. They're not super impressive, but I think for the sporty dynamic trade-off that you get in this car, it really is worth it, especially when handling bends and curves and things like that. It's a lot of fun. One thing I wanted to mention also is you can only use the sport mode while you're in automatic mode. This car obviously has the individual manual mode. You toss the shifter over to the left and you can control the shifts yourself. You have nice paddles on the wheel, which are just fine. They're plastic, but you know, honestly, they feel pretty significant in your hand. I would like a brushed aluminum, but that's just me. This is still, you know, a Mazda and not a Porsche. So, but what I mean to say is you can use sport mode only in automatic mode. If you go over into manual mode and you use the paddles or whatever, obviously you can't use sport mode since you are in control of your shifts. It does tighten up or quicken up the throttle response, but it sounds good. It does quicken up the throttle response. However, you are in control of your shifts, so it cannot shift for you. Now, transmission and power, that's all well and good, but that's straight line speed, and that's not really what this car is about. This car is about dynamics and turning and handling. Mazda's new G-vectoring steering makes the steering absolutely lovely. It doesn't give you a whole lot of feedback, but it's got a nice weight to it. It's not so much that, you know, you would consider yourself in like a sports car, but it is enough to where you feel like you're absolutely in control of the vehicle. You have to give it a little thought if you're going to turn the wheel. Once you do turn, if you're going into a 90-degree turn and you get on the gas pretty good, you are going to get a bit of wheel spin on that inside wheel. That is just the front differential trying to get those wheels around. I'll do one right here. It's not so bad. It makes a decent noise. Honestly, it's not bad for a 4-cylinder turbo. It's pretty good, actually. I like the sound. The turbo comes in really well. The power band is extremely linear. There's not a whole lot of lag down low. So it's a really responsive and rewarding car to drive, especially if you're going to be in like a family sedan segment. I think this is the car that I would pick, absolutely, and I'll get into it more as I go into the interior. However, before I do get into the interior, I want to talk about the exterior, and it's gone through a minor facelift. The front fascia is a little bit cleaner. They've removed the fog lights. Someone told me that the fog lights are now integrated into the headlights. Somebody in the comments, please let me know if that's true. But it does give it a much more premium feel, especially up front. Then when you move back towards the wheels, my signature trim gets the 19-inch spoke or 19-inch gunmetal multi-spoke wheels. They look really well, or they look really good. They fill out the wheel wells really well, giving it a nice aggressive and sporty stance. Aside from wheels, there's not much to talk about on the side. However, I do want to mention that I do absolutely love the front 3/4 on this car. Mazda does a really good job in their 6s and their 3s and everything, making the front fenders look absolutely menacing. They're nice and bulged out in the front. I wish they would do the same in the back. The back fenders seem a little bit less flared. I wish they would give them a little wider hips in the back to convey that sporty stance all the way back towards the rear. Now, once you do get to the rear, you obviously, I should have mentioned, you have updated headlights and taillights, but you do also have new, bigger exhausts. I think it looks a lot better. It gives the car a much more meaty and premium feel, especially with the addition of the turbo. I wish they would have put a turbo badge on the back, just to let everyone know. The last time that there was a turbo in a Mazda 6 was the Mazda Speed 6, and that was a fantastic little car, so I think they should get a little bit of bragging rights for putting this turbo back in this thing. Now, as you move to the back, you open the trunk, you're met with 14.7 cubic feet of space. It's not necessarily segment leading, but it is absolutely livable. There are toggles in the back where you can pull and drop your seats down 60-40 to add more space. There's nice gooseneck hinges that are hidden on the trunk, so they're not going to crush your stuff when you close the trunk. Now I want to talk about my favorite thing, and that is absolutely the interior of this car. The new seats are Napa leather, and my tester is in the kind of like mocha brown finish. This is quickly becoming one of my favorites. I think the parchment leather, the white leather, is still my favorite by far. But this is I shouldn't say by far, this is absolutely a close second. It looks really, really premium. It matches the rest of the cabin. And just the design, I think, is a lot more clean. It's much more Mercedes-esque. It absolutely transcends the segment from being a Honda and Toyota competitor to being more of a BMW, Audi, Mercedes competitor. This interior just looks so good. It's got beautiful suede up on the dash. It's got nice padded leather. The leather is extremely soft. If you just touch this, you'll know what I mean. You get nice stitching on the dash. The only thing that brings down the quality of this cabin is that there is piano black up by the shift lever and by the by the window switches. That's really the only thing. You also get piano black a little bit down by where you adjust your seat on the side near the floor. You're obviously not going to see that much, but you do know that it's there. It just collects dust and gets fingerprints on it. I wish Mazda would have done a little something different with that, made it like a brushed aluminum, or given it some sort of texture. I'm just going to say one more time how much I love this interior. It's so premium. It's so good looking. It's absolutely what I would consider the strong point of this vehicle. Obviously the exterior has been refreshed too. That was a little less intense, but this interior just looks so much better. It's absolutely transcendent of the Honda and the Toyota. And then it just drives. God. It does so well at putting power down. I shouldn't say that. You do get a little bit of wheel spin. There's a lot of low end torque here, which is a lot of fun, and you get up and go off the line pretty well. But you do get a good amount of wheel spin, especially there's no launch control, so what you have to do is you have to brake torque it. You have to put your 1 foot on the brake, 1 foot on the gas, lift the brake. You do get a good amount of wheel spin there. Like I said, in corners, if you're pushing it hard out of a corner, you might burn up that inside wheel a little bit. But dynamically, this thing just holds on. It's very, very planted. The damping is a lot firmer than you would typically expect from a car in this segment, giving it a nice planted and sporty and confident feel, especially in corners. There, burned up that wheel a little bit. I don't know if you guys heard that. But it's fast. I mean, it's quick. It's a lot of fun. It's really rewarding to drive. It's absolutely the selection that I would make in this segment. It's got the Camry beat by a landslide. The Accord is a bit closer. Now, if you're wanting straight line power, Accord is going to give you that. But if you want something that's gonna, you can attack a back road in, or you can go after some curves, this I think is a good bet for you. This is a lot of fun, really rewarding driving experience. Now, I do want to talk to you about amenities and features that you can expect in this car. You will get a heated steering wheel in the Signature trim. You will get 3-level heated seats up front in the Signature trim. This is the first Mazda to introduce cooled seats, and they work exceptionally well. A lot of ventilated and cooled seats, just kind of like, I don't know, it feels like someone's like blowing on the back of your neck a little bit, but on your butt. These are absolutely refreshing, I'll say that. They feel fantastic. They work really well. I wish I was in this car for a lot of those days this summer when I was shooting in really hot days and wanted something cold on my butt. These work really well. It's one of my favorite aspects of cars these days. So well done to the Mazda 6. My chief complaint about this car, it's really, one of my only complaints about this car, also that you can't get a panoramic sunroof, but the chief complaint about this car is that the infotainment is still the same. I know I'd mentioned this on previous videos. I'm not even going to jump into the infotainment because it's exactly the same. Go check out some of my older videos, check out the CX-5, learn all about it from there. It's exactly the same. There's nothing really wrong with it, aside from it doesn't have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Mazda's going to offer that soon as kind of like a subscription. You're gonna have to pay more. So you will be able to get it later this year, if not next year. But aside from that, there's really nothing wrong with the infotainment. I think it's just tired. You know, it's been in this car since 2014. You know, it's gone through like 2 mid-cycle refreshes now. So it was new in 2014, then it was on the 2016, which was a refresh, and now the 2018 is another refresh. So I'm just kind of wondering, Mazda, why you're not refreshing your infotainment system. One thing that the Mazda 6 now offers is a 360 camera. It's a little bit grainy. It's not my favorite in terms of graphics, but I think it works just fine. The top-down display looks all right. They kind of break it into 4 different sections, and I'm not really sure why they do that. I would like to just have it be one encompassing photo or graphic, but you know, in any case, it works just fine. It tracks where your wheels are going to be and how the car is going to track and when you turn the wheel. It works just fine. I just wish it was kind of crispened up and tightened up a little bit. Again, this could be in the new refreshed infotainment system, but for now, it just looks a little bit grainy. However, you can connect your phone with, you know, Bluetooth or whatever, and when you want to play music, you can get music through these wonderful Bose speakers. They are, you know, extremely dynamic. They sound really good. So kudos for that. I'm going to talk about the dash for a minute again, because you get this just incredible suede. It's like micro suede or super suede, I don't know, but it's extremely soft. In other trims, in the Grand Touring and Grand Touring Reserve, you get this wonderful padded leather, but really ultimately it's just the design. It just works so well. It's so premium, and it really conveys that this Mazda 6 is no longer just like a small econo box. It really is in between the segments of, you know, economy and luxury. They do such a good job. It's just so good to look at. It feels so rich. The textures, the colors, especially in the parchment, you get a nice contrast with the parchment and the black screens on the infotainment and everything like that. Well done. Love it. Best part of the car, cabin design. Also, this is kind of weird, but I really like the door handles in this car. There's a kind of like chrome accenting going from the back of the door up to the front, and it kind of transforms into the door handle, and then it wraps around the front of the dash. I think it integrates really, really well. Another weird thing is the front side vents. So the vent on the left of my steering wheel, it kind of juts out into the door. There's like a cutout. So when you open the door and close the door, the vent is like jutting out into the world. It's really kind of cool. I mean, it looks good. I don't really know why you would need that, but it looks good. It looks fantastic. One thing that you also get on the Signature trim is a 7-inch digital display in your cluster, and this will display, you know, your speedo. It's a very premium looking display. You can also track things like your adaptive cruise and your lane keep assist through that as well. Also, what I want to mention is that they have a new heads-up display where you can keep track of your adaptive cruise and your kind of follow distance and everything like that. It's no longer on a little plexiglass sheet. It's actually projected on the windshield. It looks fantastic. It's exactly what I would want it to be, so well done. Now, I know I talked a little bit about the rear seats a minute ago, but I do want to make sure that I mention rear seat legroom is not class leading, but it's absolutely still comfortable. I am 6'1", I got in the driver's seat, set my seat, and then I got immediately in the seat behind me, and I still had about this much legroom in front of me. So it's still comfortable. You still get dual rear vents, you get dual rear map pockets, and you do get 3 level heated seats in the back. Plus you also get a USB, and they do a really good job. I think Mazda does a really good job at making sure that the USB is in a functional and practical location. So many companies put the USB right under the center air vents, so in the middle console here. Why would you do that? Put it on the center armrest where Mazda has it. It makes so much more sense. Why do I want to be reaching forward, or why do I want to have cords dangling in the footwell? It makes no sense. So Mazda does a really good job of making sure that that's ergonomic for you. Now, what can you expect to get into this Mazda 6 for? My Signature trim is about $35,000 to start. I would really recommend getting into one of these if you can afford it. Granted, $35,000 is a good amount of money. However, if you're looking for the most sporty, dynamic car in the segment, and you're looking for the most refined and elegant interior, I think it's absolutely worth the money. Like I said, this car transcends something like a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry. Subaru Legacy, absolutely. just simply on interior alone. The design is flawless, the materials are so high-end, it's absolutely a transcendent vehicle of its segment. So once again, I want to thank my friends at Hall Volkswagen Mazda for making this video possible. They take great care of me every time I'm there. They'll do the same for you. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. As always, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time.